Fighting can actually be helpful because if you're not fighting, then that means you're keeping everything in, and
What
that
if there's
breeds
nothing to fight?
resentment.
So this thing is it's such a female specific thing because I don't for men if we are not fighting we are at peace, like there's nothing we are keeping in. There was a comedian who said that women do not understand the concept of peace. Yeah, they can be happy, but they do not understand the concept of peace because to be peaceful means your mind is not processing anything, and that's
No, that's not
and it,
possible. No, that's
exactly
not
for a
possible.
woman
That's
that's
not
not possible.
possible. Day one, Ekabo Sanu, thank you for joining us. Today with me, we're going to be talking about, gender roles. Day one, Ekabo Sanu, thank you for joining us. Today with me, we're going to be talking about, gender roles and the Japa situation. So gender roles in diaspora. And for many immigrant men, especially creatives, masculinity becomes a negotiation between who you are, what you earn, and what the world expects from you. So that's the struggle between being a provider versus being a creator, and also cultural expectations versus lived reality. And finally, currency value versus self-worth. I have an extinguished, may your head no go swear. I have an extinguished guest and a dear friend, Xavier Igoroje. Yay! Wait, I'm not done hailing you. This is the only time I get to hail you because me, I'm not saying you, but that's fine. So Xavier is both a showrunner, executive producer, writer, and a host of other things. But let's not over make his head swell. His works like Shantytown with over 41.8 million views on Netflix. Then Uribi, which was also nominated at the 11th edition of AMVCA, and the list goes on. There's Ginger, in fact, just Google the name. That's all I can tell you. So again, thank you, Xavier, for joining us. Moving forward, so my first question would be, what gives you joy?
Creating gives me joy. Creating and peace. When I say creating, I just realized that after like just working and wearing different hats in the creative industry, um, my happiest when I'm writing something or developing new material, either in isolation or with a set of people. Um, Story workshops. I love story workshops. I love breaking stories. That gives me joy. Peace of mind also gives me joy.
Okay.
Uh, when things are not chaotic and I'm not overly stimulated and I'm just chilling with a game pad or with something. I haven't played games in ages, right? But yeah, that's also something that gives me joy. Watching TV, um, watching films, being in the cinema, seeing something new, um, or a material that I care about on the big screen is also something I know that I find sincere joy. And then I also I just realized reading also. Um, just enjoy spending time with family, going out for dinner or lunch, or having breakfast with family. Also gives me joy. Uh, Eating Nigerian cuisine also gives me joy.
That's
I
great.
think I've said a lot of things, but yeah, this is the
Yeah.
not sure.
Okay. I'm just warming your seat for you. So, what is your definition of a successful man and where did it come from?
Definition of a successful man. Well, that's a very peculiar one. I would say success would be measured against the kind of goals that a man have set for himself. So I don't think it's a one. size
To
fits
you,
all
you,
type.
individualistic to you.
Exactly, to me, exactly. So
Mhm.
personally for me, success to me be seeing the things that I have grown or what had over the years, seeing it, seeing the people that I have poured into, seeing them thrive and seeing them succeed. Seeing the things that I have given my life for. Whether it's for projects or family, see those things succeed. I realize intrinsically makes me. These are some other things. Yeah, that's how I define success as, and being able to have options
Mm.
and not being constrained to forced or boxed into a space is something that would term successful. Like imagine just being able to jet up and be like, you know what, I'm going to Nigeria tomorrow, and you can afford the flight tickets, right? That's also something that I would consider very successful. I would also, yeah, I guess freedom. Ultimately, my my definition of success is tied to freedom.
Mm.
The freer I can get, the more successful I feel like.
Okay. When you imagined your life as a father and a husband before leaving Nigeria, what did it look like in your head?
Before leaving Nigeria, that is okay. Well,
As a husband and as a father?
yeah, I think it was mostly tied to provision and guidance. Before leaving Nigeria, while I was in Nigeria, um, that was as a husband, I would say, and as a father, I would say that's the major um, theme of how I saw myself in.
Mhm.
Um, basically provision and guidance for both my wife and my son, or my wife and my children, because my family is going to be expanding very soon. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Did you have any fears having to raise your child outside of the Nigerian system, Nigerian culture, what we would probably term as safety?
Oh yeah, there will always be fears because uh, raising your child outside Nigeria comes with its own challenges and peculiarities, especially in a space where the child will be connected to culture, will be connected to a lot of family systems,
Mhm.
support systems. I knew mentally that I would have to make that shift in my head. And also there would be a lot of sacrifice because in the absence of family and support systems, we are not in Nigeria where we can get like a living caregiver or something and afford that, right? Um, if for my son, because he is very energetic and very boisterous and tends to be helpful, so he wants to engage you all the time. Those level of engagements, it would have to come with somewhere. So if you are not affording, if you are not being able to afford extra classes to provide that thing, then you would have to be the one to provide it. Yeah, that's it basically.
I think for me, the fears that I have are more entwined with the things that are easily available here that were not easily available when we were growing up.
Yeah,
So I know people talked about cultism, and even though I went Ife, I went at the time when it was really cleaned out. So
yeah.
I didn't experience it. I only heard about it.
Okay.
I never knew anyone in my immediate circle or even external circle who dealt with drugs or homelessness. I guess maybe some people will assume that I lived a
The
sheltered life,
sheltered.
but it was a good way, right? So coming to the abroad,
Mhm.
those are fears that are in my face,
Oh,
especially because of the culture shock. It's so easily in your face for you to see someone who is, you know,
addicted to something on the road.
exactly or experiencing homelessness or something. And I worry
Mm.
about the infiltration and how life would be, especially when that Nigerian support system is not
It's
there.
there. Yeah.
So I have those fears. And then I
Um,
also have those fears of when the child, that disconnect, when they say, I disowned my parents.
but those are very particular type fears, I think. For me, in terms of like maybe drug cultism and all that, I would say those are fears of mine. Um, Simply because as a parent, you
Mhm.
can only
Do
do
so
so
much.
much, right? So most of your duty right now
Mhm.
would be to be a guide and a friend. And you'll be hoping that when they get exposed to these things, the communication lines are open enough for them to come to you and have those conversations with you, the hard conversations. And if you do that diligently, and if you create a community around them, which is the thing you were saying that they're moving and changing in changing ways, that community, family, and all that is not around them. Um, and yeah, so if you build that community around them, it could be church, it could be your faith, it could be your volunteer work. If there is that community around them that just teaches them the value of service and the rest and engages them positively, then
Mhm.
it will be difficult for them to fall into those other spaces. And I think that's something that we as migrant parents, we have to actively curate.
Mhm.
Um, but then by and large, that's literally the best you can do. The funny thing is that you would be surprised that raising a child in Nigeria, they will still have, by and large, the same level of exposure to drugs and all these other things. Because I mean, culture have been influenced by entertainment and a lot of all these things just to get in the mix. So the rates at which we were exposed to those type of things when we were growing up is not, you cannot compare to what the young people there in Nigeria, for instance, now. So if you were in Nigeria, it's still the same thing you would have to do to guide them, to create those systems around them so that in your absence, they can make those decisions themselves. Um, when it comes to cultism, I'm sure you are not afraid because a lot of all these African cults, they do not have any roots, strong roots outside the country. But
Mhm.
then the only temptation there would be if you have not created a sense of belongingness for your child and they realize and they see those things there and they're like, okay, you know what, this thing would make me feel seen or
Mhm.
heard. Um, that's the race. But then I also hear you on the drug thing, but the good thing is that anytime you drive past, you can also see people that are adversely affected by drugs, right? And soon he will start asking questions. Why is that man bent over like a clock? Why is this person sleeping on the road? And then you can also use that as a teachable um, moment for
Yeah.
them to just reinforce those things in their head. Mentally, it's also possible that when we're growing up, it's not even the act of sheltering. Sometimes it's just because the way you were growing up, you didn't, certain things didn't appeal to you. For instance, me, growing up, I didn't like taking drugs, right?
Mhm.
So there is no way that I'm tempted by quote unquote drug because the physical act of tablets in my mouth and drinking water, it
Yeah, but
causes me
that's
to
not the only way
gag.
you can do the drugs.
Yeah,
There's,
so
they can spike your brain,
intravenous.
and
Yeah,
you know, there's some. If you're, I always say that our emotional strength or our mental strength varies, like how our physical strength varies from person to person. And if your body doesn't have that capacity to, withhold it and they spike your drink, you can easily get addicted, all because you went for one party or the other.
that doesn't happen from just one exposure, right? If you've been spiked once and you
They
have a
say
certain,
crack. They say crack. Anyway, these are just my
they say
fears.
crack, they say
But they
crack
say crack.
at once. It's so
I know that they said it's very easily addictive.
addictive.
Yes.
Yeah, but then I don't know if it's one exposure,
I
right?
don't know either.
Your body may react a certain type of way to it as at that time,
Mhm.
but it's craving it and going after it over and over again that creates that sense of addiction. I think not just one time, Well, yeah, you can only do so much. You can only do your best, literally. When they go out there, it is those systems that you have created with them that would help them, that would guide them into navigating those moments when you are not there. That would be those silent voices in their head telling them, this is wrong, not because mommy says so, but because I understand it fundamentally to be so.
Mhm. I'm going to share two scenarios with you, and then you're going to let me know your thoughts. One scenario is of a friend telling me, I had a conversation with the person, and then the person told me that it's only if his wife, he's not married, it's just, futuristic conversation, I guess. If his wife was really sick, would he feel the need to help in changing their child's diaper? And then a different conversation I had told the person that because of so much that I have going on, my own version of luxury is having someone come help me do chores like clean my house. That's my own version of luxuries. People enjoy going to dinner, buying stuff and like that. But me, I just want someone to buy me back, buy time for me to rest because your sound has gone by the way. But yes, to for me to buy time back in order to rest. And when I said this to this person, the person first of all was like, "Oh, but how much is that?" And I'm like, "That's not the point. It's not about the money, because for me, this is worth it, right?" And then next person said was that if that he doesn't know how he feels about someone else cleaning his house. When so he gave a scenario, it's like if we were to date or marry or whatever, that's okay. Granted, he may let someone come clean the house, but that's I don't remember if he said we together, myself and him, or he said I would still clean the bedroom. And I was like, that's so funny. Why would I pay someone to come clean my house and then I'll still leave bedroom for myself to clean? Do you get? And then he's like, oh no, that it will be a joyous thing for us to do together. I'm like, okay, hold up, sir. There was no part of this conversation where I told you that I enjoyed cleaning. I am paying someone to buy back rest for myself. And you're telling me there's an activity that you want us to do as a couple. And I saw it as someone who was very traditional. So I don't want to impress on you my thoughts, but I wanted to hear from you.
So there was something you said for the first question where you mentioned that the person was not yet married.
Yes.
So they could be answering from a limited reality, but then even within the limited reality, it also maybe gives you a sense of the person's mental thought patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a sense of what their expectations are like. There's a quote that it says the mark of an educated mind to is it to entertain an idea without conforming to it or something like that. I can't remember it very clearly. But a lot of times when people are saying these things, their realities are very different. So their expectations are very different. But if you can put yourself in certain scenarios, you realize how maybe strong those morals or whatever our thought patterns are, or how weak they are. So think of it this way: the first question was on changing baby diapers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you are saying it's only when your wife is sick and blah 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 blah. What if you have a remote job and then your wife has a 9 to 5? So you are remote, and then because your wife has a remote job, she works downtown, right?
Mm-hmm. Because your wife has a full job, she works downtown, she goes to the office. Mm-hmm. You work remotely, and there's a daycare close to your house. So, and that daycare closes by 4, so you need to pick up your child by 4. Mm-hmm. Your wife is not going to be home by then. Mm-hmm. You pick up the child by 4, the child stools on themselves. Are you going to wait for your wife to come back? because she's not sick now.
There
So
have
she
been
has to have to wait
scenarios
for her
of
to come back
there have been
with the child
scenarios
being
of
sold
men
and
that
all those kind.
waited. There have been
What?
scenarios of men that waited
Yeah. So
and
again,
let the child sold.
I don't want to make this like a gender thing.
True. Okay.
Basically because for this scenario, it is the man's action that we are looking at. For the woman's scenario, it is her seeing the man as a breadwinner that will look at, because there are also scenarios where they don't want to contribute anything to the family, even when the realities are showing you that this is clearly not working, right? In a situation where you know that you people both made this child, or even if that is not the situation, you are dating someone who has a child already. The honest truth is, if you love this person, you will show up for this person regardless. And you will show up for them the way they expect to be showed up for, because that's the only way they can respond to love, right? It is not how you, and they would show up for you the way you expect to be shown, for people to show up for you. And that's the only way you can, because if you show up for them in every way besides what their understanding of love would be, they will still feel unloved.
Yes.
And if they show up for you in all the ways that they understand love to be, without your own understanding of love or what you expect, there will still be. Do you understand? So, and again, for the child, you both made this child together, or in a partnership, this child is important to both of you. So it behooves you to show up for this child. And showing up for the child, like changing diapers, is even one of the basic things, because they are even disposable diapers, it's very easy. Remove, clean, use wipes, wipe, get new one. Do you understand? That's like the easiest.
Back in the day, napkin.
Like, imagine if it was back in the day that it was gangster. Back in the day when it was napkin, do you know that napkin, you will go and wash it?
Wash it.
You will soak it, then you will now soak it. When you wash it, you will now soak it so that everything can leave.
Yes.
You will now put all those powder, all those things, and now so life is literally a lot easier for you to be, and life has made it easier. So it doesn't make any sense when people are having this kind of mindsets, that they can't do stuff and all those kind of things, right? For the second scenario you painted, that's why I made that example. You have clearly articulated how you want to be showed up for. So for the second question, I had said earlier on that in love, you have to respond the way the person understands it. You've clearly articulated how you want to be showed up for. And your own is, this thing that I'm doing, if someone can take it out of my hands and give me time to breathe and be by myself, whatever you need that time for, if it's to just dip your face into a bucket of ice cream, that's your choice. Do you understand? And the funny thing is, because I also know you, I'm not sure I can see a version of the future where someone is coming to clean the house and you are not hoofing around the person and saying, clean here, clean there, I want it like this, I want it like that, do you understand? So the time that they are taking away from you, you are going to use that time to still supervise. So that it is cleansed the way you have it in your mind.
Oh God, Xavier, you know me too well.
So in a situation like that, the person saying, let's do it together, you already, even if you bring someone and you are paying the person, you are going to still do it with the person. It's just that you are not cleaning, because you still supervise these things.
That's true.
Do you understand? So that's just so in a situation like that, what you want is this job to be physically taken away from you. It's not for us to meet it halfway. And again, because of finances, you are not asking for that every day. You are saying that this is what I like. So it means that, of course, household chores, when there are two families, one person can't do everything. So if they decide that, okay, I am captain, vacuuming, whatever, so every weekend I vacuum, or once a month or whatever, I vacuum the house and keep it clean. And then we find time where we do deep cleaning, where we invite somebody to do the deep cleaning. That makes a lot of sense. That's the arrangement that we have. But then, because I don't know how to clean like my wife wants it, especially certain specific areas, even after a while, she will still come and just clean those areas and everything and all that. And then again, it is like it is seen that there is a burden on the ground, there's a load on the ground that needs to be picked up. And the question is, whoever picks it up, do you understand? Like, if I can pick it up here, I'm the one picking it up. If it's you that can pick it up, we are the one picking it up. We are not waiting for each other, right? And then, like I said, we also have a system. When there is money, invite someone to do deep cleaning, right? When that one is not available, I do the vacuuming every now and then, more or less. Even dishwashing, because I know my wife doesn't like it. But when it comes to cooking, right, she used to handle all the cooking, but now that she's heavy, I'm the one like cooking a lot more. But then when it comes to cooking for our son, because I'm the one who preps him for school, I'm the one doing breakfast, I'm the one getting him ready for that, breakfast, lunch, all those kind of things, I'm the one handling all of those, right? So again, it depends on availability. If I have a job that is taking me out of town, I won't be available to do all these things. Do you understand? So, like I said, it's all seeing a burden on the ground and deciding that someone has to pick this up. And it's a partnership. In a partnership, it's wise to play to your strengths. I won't see that you hate doing this thing and I hate doing it, but one of us clearly hates it more than the other. So someone has to decide that, okay, you know what? Because it's not as if I love cleaning the dishes, but I realize that I do not hate it as much as my wife does.
Okay.
Right? So it's easy for me to just do that. And I know that when I'm cooking, I can just be cleaning along and everywhere is clean. If she's cooking, everywhere becomes like a storm. So when she's cooking and she cleans, she will not be like, see, everywhere is clean. I'm like, yes, all right, well done, thank you. So it's not supposed to be that difficult. I'm just painting an idealistic situation. Sometimes we'll see fight over this one, that one, all those kind of things, right? But yeah, by and large, this is the way.
Fighting can actually be healthy, because if you're not fighting, then that means you're keeping everything in. And
what if there's nothing to fight? So this thing is such a female specific thing, because for men, if we are not fighting, we are at peace. Like there's nothing we are keeping in.
Well, maybe that's why they say men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
There was a comedian who said that women do not understand the concept of peace. Because, no, let me explain. Okay. They can be happy. They can be happy, but they do not understand the concept of peace, because to be peaceful means your mind is not processing anything. And that's
not possible.
Exactly. For a woman, that's not possible. But I'm telling you that for a man, that's possible.
And I believe you.
We are not thinking anything.
I believe you.
Because so he was like, you have to find ways to be peaceful with yourself that does not coincide with your wife's happiness. Because if you being peaceful coincides with her happiness, then she's not happy and she's wondering what is going on here.
I 100% believe you, because I read a book, What Your Husband Is Actually Thinking. I don't think that's the actual title, but it was something similar to that. And the guy explained from a Christian perspective how men's mind can just blank.
Yeah.
And they compartmentalize everything. Oh, wow, I said that word without stuttering. I'm so proud of myself. They do. See, I don't even want to say it again before I jinx
the C word. Yeah.
The C word. Anyway, and the way he described it is like, you could just switch off this part of your brain and you go to work. You switch off this part of your brain and you watch TV. You switch off this part of your brain and, you do this or you do that. But we women, we are constantly, hi, wifey. We are constantly thinking about something. And it's crazy. Like, I know I'm an overthinker. I know. And I try.
Every woman is an overthinker, because there's hardly anyone that I know that doesn't think. It just varies the spectrum.
I think I'm on a very high spectrum, because let me tell you, I'll tell you a story. And well, if you watch this video, I apologize. So I hung out with someone. It was a first date. Belle, probably don't say this. Okay, it was a first date. The date was nice. Then we left. We thought about going for a walk, and then he suggested that we go for a drive instead. And I was like, okay, sure. And then we get to the car, and unfortunately, they had broken the glass of his car, and they stole his laptop. And Yes. In fact, I actually think that it happened maybe like 30 minutes or an hour prior to us coming out because there was a car behind us, a Tesla. Fortunately, the Tesla recorded the robbery, so we actually saw it happen, and then we went to the police station and blah 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 blah. And I know that this person was victim and everything, and I went to the police station and I was like, make sure you get this person's contact so that we can get the video. You know how I can be. I'm telling you, do this, do that. But then in my head is just thinking, I know it's not true, but maybe it's my storyteller mind. And I'm like, what if this person concocted with the robbery so that he will claim
wasn't it just a small
so that wait now.
And still my laptop.
So because laptop is a work laptop, so that they stole the laptop, they stole the bag. His passports and documents were in it. But then today they called him and said they found the bag with the passports and everything, but they took only the laptop. And in my mind, I'm like, you see? But I know that it's far-fetched. But I'm like, do normal people think like this? Do you get? I'm like, do normal people think like this? Like, I had already created, and I was even saying, then I now even told him that the person that called and returned the bag, that what if the person is part of the syndicate that stole your bag? Like, I had so many theories. So, but this is like normal story in my head. So you can imagine every other thing. My mind is always on. It's always churning, annoyingly so. Even when I'm sleeping, it's always, and it's so I don't think that I would be able to just, and maybe it's a woman thing, switch off. What's that? No.
So I think it's because, how do I put it?
By her what? Your sound has gone off again. Okay, by her masculine partner. Okay. It's overwhelming. Mm-hmm.
There was like a water thing that happened like during winter from our washing machine. So our dishwasher. So there's a particular floor in the ground that became last minute to just change the entire floor. Right. So mentally I knew my finances are. I knew how French, I knew that okay, it's going to take the next 1 month, whatever, it's going to be fixed, and I'm okay with it. So normal thing I would use the dishwasher for now, just washing the dish. My wife is thinking about it like, okay, so have you called the issue these people that so we talk to people how to fix this thing, right? And I've just said, oh, no worry, I'll get it fixed. In my head, I know I've already planned the time and I'll fix it. But I'm having this thing, okay, I've got the person. I'm going to do this. Should we do this for like this? For like, what's it called? It's like, when we get to, when it's time to have all these conversations, because I can't be doing all these things very realistic, that you know what I do. Right, so somehow I think by default was maybe or maybe evolution for those who are making those type of things, right? And it has just become like this, right? Where we are being able to quite all those things because we have partners who can't do that and we need to show for them. I think that's how I like.
Let me tell you something weird. I feel what you're saying as a man. So, my mom comes to visit me and stays a few months. Wallahi, I've told her that sometimes we live like my husband and wife, and I'm the husband and she's the wife. Because, like you said, you've calculated your finances, you've known the things you're gonna do. But my mom will remind you about every single thing, and you already know these things. But then, because you haven't communicated it, whether you need to or not, it's just a constant reminder. And in my head, I'm just like, is this what men go through in marriage? Dear Lord. Do you know what? Now, this visit is a lot better now. The last time she came, I was so triggered. That I had to go on a self-reflect journey.
It also creates situations where there's always tension between you and her. It's not every time that you have the patience to be like,
yes. So what I do now, I had to self-reflect. And then what I tell myself is, your mom doesn't have to be here. She's sacrificing. She was back home in Nigeria. She has people that help her do certain things. She's sacrificing love and time, and she's not young anymore. Plus, it's coming from a place of love. So I keep telling myself this. It's coming from a place of communicate better. If you're not in the mood to talk, you just say, Mom, please, just give me a few minutes. Not right now. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But then I just take a deep breath, and I also try to consider. It doesn't help me all the time, but I try to consider that my son is watching, because my son will even be like, Mom, Dad is not listening, and I'm like, Ogasa, that's my mother. Because even sometimes my mom will tell him, do you know that that's my daughter? I'm her mother, because he's always ready to fight for me. So I know he's always watching, so I try to, I'm not perfect, show the respect and everything, but yeah.
And then in lots of times when there is difference, it is those moments where you can't just keep quiet. The original thing that set us off this tangent was when we were saying that when there is fight, it means that when there is the absence of fight, it means that we are bottling things. So when I was trying to tell you that we are not bottling things, so you see how if there is a situation where you've self-regulated, right, and there is no fight between you, so articulate, just give me like what's right now. I just like this some other time, right? There is no bottling. It's not as if there is no tension anyway. You just thought that I'm moved on and you are peace, you are good. Do you understand? But most is not thinking, why did this person say this? Is it not so like this? Do you understand? So there's a lot of times the absence of fight or those relationships are because.
But do you know the funniest part? If I was in a relationship, I'll be the woman. I'll be thinking that.
Yes.
So it's so funny, the dynamics. It's so funny. And then I'm just like, and then I tell myself, Ebele, does this mean that you cannot live with somebody? I'm like, God, please, I beg. I beg.
It's just, and the thing is, it's also you being self-aware too. This is the active pressure points in your relationship with Mopsy. And so how do you navigate this thing? And you cannot let control your reactions in situation.
I try.
You were able to like sit down and this sacrifice person has been all these kind of things on the surface of marriage and do it like that and find a peaceable ideally. And I think that's one thing. If you remember the first question you asked me, what success it's one of the things that make me happy. I love things that visual space. Right? I like that calm atmosphere and everything. And the only way that thing can go around is if I have to do this thing. I'm completely I've moved on and I'm good. Right? But then I can only control how I react to this situation. It's not every time that I'm able to do it, right? At the time that I'm able to do it, if I now have this, that it's not true that the talk that I find, maybe that's what the talk is very, so we have to just find easier to begin where I'm expressing growing.
Okay, so now we're moving into, this question is, how did you feel knowing that you were working just as hard, but your money carried less weight? Let me explain. Yeah, but I wanted to explain it for, I want to believe that my viewers are global. So, working, because I know that most of the jobs you're doing now are in Nigeria, or you're being paid in the Naira currency, but then you live in Canada and you're spending Canadian dollars, and Naira value is less than Canadian dollars. So that's what this question basically is. I'm going to explain that. So please.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating because initially it always just made me think about the fact that it always just felt like if I wasn't in this country, I would be Bola.
You will be where?
Bola,
Bola. Oh, yeah. Right.
Very comfortably for global audience. I'm living very comfortably, right? Because the money I'm making, it could afford me that kind of lifestyle. But again, I have made the shifts to be here. So again, like I said, it's a constant pressure point, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've started diversifying and going out to get trying to get a job here. That would just remove that active pressure point from my head. But I also have to make peace with the fact that in diversifying to remove that active pressure point from my head, it means that I may naturally need to leave some of the things that I know I've been called to do, like creating a rest. I will need to do it for a while, or almost even for an extended period of time, and then define exactly what that is in this place, what creative level would be for me here. So that's basically the journey I'm currently on. By God's grace, I have jobs that I will be doing here that will be giving me enough
sustenance,
foreign exchange or Canadian dollars for me not to worry too much about that. Even like a full-time job, by God's grace, that I should be getting soon. That will give me just a peace of mind, and I will be centered enough so that I won't have to be thinking, how much is this when I divide it by 1,050 naira? And that comes to see, this can only last for XYZ months and all those kind of things. But yeah, that is it. Like, it's very, when I say frustrating, it's very, very frustrating. Seeing your money just reduce like this, and you know that, okay, this is just going to be able to have paid for just my condo charges, this insurance, my that insurance. And when we add all those small things, that subscriptions that you are paying for, Netflix, Spotify, this one, money is gone, and you're like, God, right? There are all of those things. But then again, I'm also able to put it in perspective that marginally, I have to be financial investment here, right? And that's one of the reasons why it is very important to get a car, private car, a house, those kind of things. The finances until it's natural. So I'm able to like that's why I'm here, right? And that's why I need to continue, because if I didn't do that, like I said, president of family and friends, money I use making this different stuff. This is available for me, and I'm like, so when I do that in my head, I'm cool. But yeah, it's a work in progress.
Okay. Before you blew, and during the period of your ebb and flow, because as creatives, we know that, there's the flourish And then there's the hold your pocket. You count. Have people ever taken you less seriously because your work wasn't stable?
So during before I moved here, I had lots of contacts from everyone that would have that kind of pressure. I was living in Lagos. I don't think there was any friend of mine from university that was in active communication with. Was that like, do you understand? Because I didn't want to be looking at this person and say, oh, this person has a job in Chevron, that person has a job and it wasn't, oh my god, what's going on? I didn't want to do that. So I just literally zero. I wasn't having conversations with anybody. So in not doing that, it created sort of like it isolated me from that kind of pressure. So I could just focus on the hustle and make it succeed. But the drawback of that situation is when there were people whose intentions were maybe genuine, right? It also made me short-sighted when I couldn't see those connections. Because I am thinking about how to make this thing work. So I'm not thinking long-term relationships. Because I know that for this person to come here, after a while, when you see the right time, that's what it's in me, and I never know. You will see face on those. So I wasn't thinking, so around that period, I wasn't thinking in terms of, like I said, in terms of long-term. I was just so focused on hustle. And again, it also created a situation where there is a way I can hyper-focus on work and intentionally for that part of my life. And that is something I'm constantly having to restructure myself out of, especially that I'm married, I have a son, a kid, and kids, and my wife, and everything. I realize that I can't hyper-focus like that and make this thing my life the way it has been my life all this time, right? So it is something I'm constantly saying, like I created systems around myself so those things were not. The only people close to me that I was a friend was me that friend, his brothers, yeah, my roommates and everything went, and then we go to church together, we come back. So it was that thing. Those were the people that were very close to me. So most of the time it was just work and those people. And in fact, and then maybe when we go to story workshops, I see my other writer people. After I leave there, it will be hard for everybody to even get in touch with me again. And I'm sure there were situations like where you train, where is it yourself, and you can't reach me. I don't disappear in training. But yeah, that was it. That's what was going on that time, right? But yeah, so that's why I created systems like that to prevent me from experiencing that question that you answered. Yeah.
Have you watched this movie? It's on, I believe I watched it on Prime. No, Netflix. The Forge.
The Forge. I've seen clips from it. There was one where the man carried like a sword that was talking to some people.
Yes.
I have seen clips from it, but I haven't seen it.
I would have loved to ask you questions on that, but you've not watched it. Perhaps watch it and then we can discuss further. But it's basically two things. When you decided to do this, the imagery would be that you literally jumped off a cliff, not knowing where it was going to land you. How did you sustain yourself during that fall to get to here?
So for me, my journey is a little bit different from the situation I entered, because I knew that for me it wasn't jumping off a cliff at the time. So I'm deeply spiritual, so the word of God had come strongly that this was what I was meant to be doing with my life. So I knew that I was going to succeed at this thing, and I knew that the isolation period was for a season, right? So it wasn't jumping off a cliff and being uncertain about things. It was almost like the children of Israel going through the wilderness towards the promised land. And not just the children of Israel, where they would have been saying, "Oh, Moses, you brought us here to do this." It was me. I was like Moses. where God has shown you where He was taking these people to.
Oh, you were the leader, leading people.
But you had to
find yourself. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So that the destination is known, it does not prevent you from your wilderness period. Right. So for me, that was what it felt like. So I knew that, and at any point in time where I was at my lowest, the word of God had always come strong. Even while I was quote unquote thriving, when I hit a battle, the word of God from a stranger would just come up and be like, I know this is the first time I'm meeting, but this is what God has told me to tell me. And it just aligned it and gave me clarity for the season that I was in. And then I get that, and then I continue. But then I get this thing impressed to me in my spirit, like, and that's where I'm currently at, and that's why that whole transitioning thing I mentioned earlier, I'm able to do that with a lot, with
peace,
a larger sense of peace than to actually demand. Although it took a long time for me to make that decision. But then, yeah, that kind of thing, right? That was how it was for me, personally. So, and even right now, that's the same type of sense of responsibility I still use in creating or creating access with like younger writers and everything, because I know that's what God has kind of called me to do. So I have to show up. But yeah.
Have you had such revelations on friendships?
Unfortunately.
Oh, did you say unfortunately?
I said unfortunately, no. Like on friendships, I don't used to hear that also. It didn't used to work like that for me. It used to work with direction, general life direction on the path. It didn't used to work.
But not for relationships. Excuse me.
This person
stay.
It wasn't, I don't it's just funny. But yeah, it wasn't like that for friendship. It wasn't like that. I think over the years, I've just sort of realized that there are some people who have chosen to be present. And I have told myself, stop trying to second guess why this person is present. Right? And just also show up for them and support them. If you notice, even our relationship, you don't see me and they vanish sometimes. And you know, they will not say, in fact, there was a time, and I think that it was very chronic. You had just gone to the US and somehow I just disappeared. And you were like, there's something you went to tell me that time, and I knew later. I think that was when you came to this like, or something like that, and you went to tell me something. And in that moment, mentally, whatever, I was in that night vanishing. So there was no way I could, God, forgive me, right? But then I had just realized, okay, like, these are people that almost through every other season of my life, they have just been present. So the least I can, do is just reciprocate and also support them. Plus, the older I get, I just realized that I can't, the same strategies that I use in living my 20s and early 30s that brought me to this place. I can't use those same strategies to live from my 40s into my 50s, right? Right now, community is very important. And it takes a village, especially for us migrants. But then, within that village, you have to be willing to be a committed villager. So I'm like, okay, you know what? How can I show up for people also? And I'm also trying to do it deliberately, even when it's not convenient. But yeah, I guess that's what friendship is about, right? So yeah.
I can't fault you because I have also ghosted. There was a point where, well, masters, working on campus, brewing a baby.
It felt so, but it felt like how do I put it? I didn't get a sense of that because I was in that my space, right? And I kind of feel like if I was present, right, it would have been easy for us to just
I don't know. I don't know. And I'll tell you why. I came to Nigeria and I didn't really see a lot of my friends because classes were ongoing. So I was having classes at midnight.
in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, do you get? And during the day I was tired, and then I'll see maybe family or stuff. So I barely had time. So I couldn't go see people. People had to come see me. And the one I didn't even see my dad when I came. So there were a lot of people I didn't tell, and a lot of people were pissed. My friend, our mutual friend, I didn't tell Lucky. I called him at the hospital after giving birth, and I said, I think I called video call or no regular call, and I was like, guess what? And I told him. He was mad. He was pissed. He said, no, no. And I didn't even expect him to be that pissed, but he was so angry. And I have known Lucky for. Exactly. So doing that and knowing that I couldn't explain the reason, but I just needed that there was just so much happening in my life, and I needed to find a way to dredge on. I'm trying to give other people grace because I know I don't do it. So I understand as well. Like he was very pissed. A lot of people were very pissed because and it it was just the whole. Maybe if we had talked, we would have said, but there was no like. I just went into my cocoon, so I get that.
At that time, so it's very, very understandable.
Yeah.
And I think anyone consider your friend when you explain the bigger picture of what you were doing, they'll be able to be like, yeah, I'm in the peace at this action, but it was not from a place of malice, right? I mean, we only you cannot fault my choice when you do not have an idea of the options I had.
And then it's also stemming from self-preservation.
Make the best that I can.
Exactly.
Things I try.
Yeah. So, as a father, what scares you more, failing emotionally or failing financially? Gang.
I think for me personally, I know I can't fail financially, so it will be probably emotional, right? I know I can't fail financially. Because again, it's just life principles. Yes, that woman or a man who's diligent before, he won't start before men, he will start before kings. So I am diligent in my work, and I know that the reward for good work is more work. So I know that those like money is going to come. There will be money, so it's not finances. So I think they're emotionally because I don't know if you know how. You may not know how, but just in case because you're a body one kind, right?
Please, I'm not a body one kind. I'm a body. Full stop. Thank you.
All right. But my point is, there are certain situations that just reveal certain trauma that you haven't dealt with.
Okay.
And you'll be like, this thing when I go react, I know saying that will bring the same results somehow. Do you understand?
Yes.
I can hear myself voice. But anyways, he has probably has just woken up in mind. But anyways, so there are situations like that. So again, so what's scares me the emotional part. Because I know that I have to keep it better. Like in what do you call it? I'm a I'm a I'm an icon for someone now that is looking up to me. Or a symbol of something of who he should be or who he can be. And if I do not create a strong sense of what that is as a model to my son, if I do not create it, if I create a flawed version of that, that is the version he will take it to another. And the second will keep occurring again. So I have to tell myself to break the mold, to become again work in progress. Obviously, when I did talk, I'm just speaking as I did talk, I did not like just not that. But get to it's hard.
It is hard.
Especially, so there are things I just need to find myself again and again and again and again. Sometimes, like, right, so yeah, it's the emotional part.
I do hear you, and I'm guessing that it's stemming from the whole general parenting / because I told you so. version of our training, right? Don't challenge me.
You know that's the one song. Challenge me and see.
Don't try me. Don't try me. Do you know, I realized that I actually tell my son, I'm asking you nicely, please go and do this. Like, I actually use that phrase because in my head, I'm remembering how they asked us growing up.
And empathize with when your son replies you said time, you need to say certain things. And you yourself will be like, if I talk this.
Well, no. I can't actually. I can actually talk some things because my parents, I'm the last. So there's a possibility that my parents had gotten tired when they had me.
Yeah, if practice with your brother and your sister.
because
But after you were tired.
Because there's some things that I remember saying. And then my dad just like, what? And I realized, oh crap, I'm talking to my dad. But when I read, I don't remember if it was Outlier I read. There was a book I read, I don't remember now. And it made me understand how slightly different my upbringing was from my siblings. But then my parents gave me room to question things. I could, I asked too many questions. So even when my son came and he's curious, he's inquisitive, my mom says it's because it's you. Now you.
Gets exasperated from these questions. And I don't know if I've mentioned, but I did this, and that's so you did and it's just it.
So because of that, I make a conscious effort to not say because I told you so. But the thing is that I'm encouraging it, so the questions double and then they triple. Like even on Sunday when we went to church, I took him to the bathroom for him to pee. So he peed and then I was peeing. And this boy decided to bend down the stall and start trying to look to the other stall. And I said, what are you doing? Stand up. That's not right. You're not supposed to do that. And then I was like, that's impolite. So reiterating the reasons why he shouldn't do that. And then he put his hand on the floor. And I said, no, don't put your hand on the floor. There are germs on the floor. And then we were just going back and forth. He wanted to open the door. I said, why are you opening the door? Is mama dressed? He said no. So I didn't say, close the door. All those things, like asking him questions for him to respond and stuff like that. And then when we came out, apparently the lady that was on the next bathroom stall now said, I love the way you talk to you. So in my mind, I'm like, do you know how tired I am talking to him like this? Do you know how tired? And then on the car rides to school, he would ask me the same question like 5 times. Yes, and I don't want to be like, so because I'm trying to encourage the inquisitiveness. At one point, I'll just be like, Papa, right now, Mama is not going to respond anymore because Mama has to drive. Let me concentrate on the driving. So that this, that. But then, I guess it's the whole us trying to show up emotionally. Because there wasn't a word for that when we were growing up. We didn't even know it was a thing. And not just us, our parents didn't know it was a thing. So could we say that is also the benefit of not just a global world, but us coming out? This is our immigrant life.